Afternoon, guys. Okay, time for me to get a little wonky again, but y'all need to know this because this is what we do. Okay. So some economic figures came out this morning. Key one was the PCE index, that is the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index. Okay, it's a measure of prices that people living in the United States or buying on the behalf of people in the United States pay for goods and services. Okay. Well, here's the problem. And we all know inflation, we're all feeling inflation like crazy. Okay. I mean, you don't have to tell anybody about, well, anybody here. Okay. There's still plenty of sheep out there that don't believe it. Okay, but we all know gas prices are going up, food prices are going up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Now, funny part in numbers that came out this morning is that now even Democrats are starting to realize that the price of stuff is going up, and inflation expectations have now hit a 13-year high. Okay, you want to do the math and go back 13 years? That's 2008. Anybody remember what happened then? Okay. But when even the Democrats are not optimistic about the direction of the economy, when basically they're running the whole thing, that's when you know you got problems. And, like I told you the other day about my boss in Jersey, who is, as he put it, a bleeding heart liberal, and he came out and said what they're doing just ain't working. Okay, so that tells you something. But back to the CPE numbers. All right. So give you this: 70% of the U.S. GDP, gross domestic product, is derived from consumer spending. So consumer spending is very important in the success of the U.S. economy. Whether we're in good times or bad. Okay, and I think most of us will agree that we're not in good times. All right, so this is the interesting part where you get into it. And this is the numbers that came out this morning. Now, at the peak of, I don't want to call it a recession or anything like that, at the peak of the current COVID situation, okay, with all the stimulus checks, all the excess federal unemployment that was being given, yada, 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 and obviously all the people not paying rent, not paying student loans, not paying electric bills, or whatever it would be, the savings of the American public topped out at about $2.5 trillion. Okay, so a lot of money, no question. Okay, the scary part is, if you think about it, the combined savings of all Americans is $2.5 trillion, and the amount of money that the United States owes is more than 10 times that. But that's a different story for a different time. Well, if we were at $2.5 trillion, that kind of explains a little bit why that back in April, back in May, when we got the last check, okay, spending was good, right? And I mean, spending is what keeps the economy going, 70% of the GDP, right? Well, now that we have no Stimmy checks coming in and people still aren't going to work, the savings in the U.S. is down to $1.7 trillion. So we have spent $800 billion of our savings just to continue life, or 1/3 of it in 2 months. Okay? So what does that mean? If we've got 2 more thirds to go, that means in 4 months. Okay, well, here it is. It's basically the beginning of August. September 1st, October 1st, November 1st, December 1st. Okay, so you are figuring by the fourth quarter of the fourth quarter of the year, the U.S. literally could have spent all its excess savings to keep going. Interesting. Then what happens? how people start borrowing money. Well, good luck borrowing anything. Good luck going into a bank and go, well, I haven't worked in 2 years. Can you give me a loan? And they're going to go, yeah, right, no problem. That's what we're here for. All right. So that's not going to happen. So what are you going to have now? You're going to have a bunch of people putting stuff on credit cards if they've got them or whatever it is. And that might keep the country afloat for another month or so. Getting back to work is what's important. But see, getting back to work isn't in the best interest of the World Economic Forum or isn't in the best interest of the Democrat Party. Okay? They need everybody to be completely dependent on the government for their plans to go through. Like we've all said since the beginning, it doesn't work. Okay, you can't have an entire nation of takers and nobody that's a maker. It just doesn't work. Again, Margaret Thatcher, problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. That's exactly what's going on here. Okay, this is not a surprise to anybody except Democrats. Okay, and especially the politicians. They're like, what do you mean? Now remember this. We have an election coming up next year, okay? And all signs right now are pointing on the Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer losing control of both houses. I mean, obviously, Biden's not up for re-election, but you put different people, the other party, in control of Congress, and that's the end of Biden getting anything done, okay? So there is that bright light at the end of the tunnel. The problem that you have is the 15 months or 16 months between now and when that Congress is going to get seated. Okay. Now, if you think that the Biden and all his minions don't see this coming, you're as foolish as they are. I mean, they know what's coming. So what do they need to do? They need to do just one thing that can completely mess this up, because we've got a near certain recession coming. I mean, that's inevitable. Like I just explained the numbers. There just isn't the money. The country is spending more than it makes. Any household, any country can't do that. Okay, so what are they going to do? And I'll bet you this is coming. There will be another multi-trillion-dollar stimulus package that comes out somewhere, probably end of the year or whatever, or better for them, beginning of next year, so people can ride the wave of that into the elections. Okay. But in order to convince everybody that they need another stimulus, that we need to have a lockdown. And what have I said is coming? Okay. This is what economists are saying. Of course, economists are now figuring out what we've been saying for months. But yeah, those are the economic figures that have come out this morning and where it's going to wind up leading everything. So, when we're at 13-year high inflation expectations, the Democrats are now seeing it coming down. Spending is going up. Income is going down. There is not a single good piece of news that has come out of the Fed, anything economists today. So I apologize for the dogs barking, but welcome to my household. So just get ready. They're going to keep fear-mongering as much as they can with all this variant crap, and they need to do that because they want to panic you into, they want to panic the public into not going to work. Mark my words, within a few weeks, we're going to start hearing talks, well, we need to do another stimulus package. We need to do this. Still waiting to see what happens here in the next 24 hours regarding the moratorium, because that's another one, but we'll see where that one lies too. But if anything else comes up, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Pinball out.